Am I the a-hole for telling my husband not to call his ex-wife his wife? So my husband, Daniel for privacy, and I have been married for just under a year, and I love him very much. He has an 8-year-old daughter, Jane for privacy, from his previous marriage, who I love as my own. He's always been respectful and patient, which is part of why I decided to marry him. We met right before the pandemic when he had been recently widowed the year before, so we tried to take things slow. We ended up quarantining together, and after 3 years, we decided to tie the knot. The wedding ceremony was everything a girl could dream of, and we've honestly had very few issues in our first year as a couple. It wasn't until we went to pick up Jane from her summer camp that I started seeing an issue. I went to meet up with him at the front desk. I found him chatting with the camp coordinator, which is all well and good, until I overheard what he was saying. He mentioned that my wife made me this jacket, actually. She was really good at all that sewing stuff. He was referring to his ex-wife, Alyssa for privacy, not me. It bugged me a little, but I brushed it off as a one-time thing, an accident. We don't talk about Alyssa much unless we're around Jane, and even then he usually refers to her as Jane's mom. I never heard him call her his wife, especially now that we were married. It wasn't until a week or two later that I learned he does this a lot. We were at a get-together with some friends from work, my first time meeting them. It was all good until one of them asked me questions about baseball. I admitted I didn't know much about the sport, and he said that was weird because Daniel had mentioned I was really good at the game and even played some in college. It left me very confused. After talking to some more guys, I found out this was a common issue. A lot of them thought Alyssa and I were the same person because Dan called us both his wife. At this point, I got really offended. We had been married for 10 months and he didn't even call Alyssa his ex-wife yet. I was super awkward, and explaining to people that he still called his ex-wife his wife was utterly humiliating, especially the amount he does it. Not just 1 or 2 people, but the whole office. When we got home, we fought. He said he didn't even think about it that way. That since he never divorced Alyssa, he never stopped thinking about her as his wife. He still stands by the fact that Alyssa is his wife, despite how embarrassing it is to explain to people that I'm not his second wife, but rather his new wife and Alyssa his ex. I told him that if he wasn't ready to move on, then he shouldn't have married me. If he can't commit to being my husband, then he shouldn't get to call me his wife. I spent the next night at my sister's house ignoring his calls. We recently started to smooth things over by not talking about them, but I can tell that this is going to be a sore spot in the marriage I'm trying so desperately to save. Am I the a-hole?